But to circle back on what you just said, and for the recording, Rohan, you submitted your script in the chat. It is totally fine to start off with and test, right? What I'm going to share with you guys today is going to put gasoline on it and light it on fire to the point where it'll help you out with your copy um, and sales, right? And ad copy and whatnot, right? So this kind of sparked my on yesterday's call, right? I believe it was Elena, I believe, who brought it up, but uh, she was showing for the people on the call, she was showing me her copy on med spas, right? And why, and she was asking why it wasn't necessarily working. Do you guys remember why it wasn't working for the people on the call yesterday?
Yeah, she wasn't really hitting the spot with like her message wasn't really hitting the spot with the audience,
Yep, yep,
the prospect.
yep, yep, 100%. And as a teaching moment for everybody on the call here, is in practice, it is very easy to call that out on like just on a call like this, right? But um, for everybody on call, you don't have to answer this directly. Are you guys doing your due diligence to understand your target demographic so deep where you even understand their psychographics, right? Have you developed your customer avatar to a T where you can literally describe who they are, what they like, how many kids they have, what their interests are to a degree that you can physically see this person? Is anyone willing to share that they haven't done that?
I would probably say I'm not that deep on it.
Yep, yep. And here's why it is important. I'm going to, and thank you for sharing that, right? And I think it's a step to solving this issue, right? So I'm posting something in the group chat and Facebook, right? So you guys might take a little while to upload. Do you guys see this bell curve right here that I just posted on Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
And for the sake of the recording, let me share my screen so people viewing the recording can see it. Give me 1 second. You guys see this, right? There's a reason why McDonald's, right? If you look at McDonald's advertising and who they're trying to target, I would say it's most likely younger generation, right? Teenagers, right? Would you guys agree with that? Like people, wanting to get the most bang for their buck for for their food, right? But historically, they've been mostly targeting teenagers, right? But that's not to say that any other demographic that doesn't alienate the other demographics, right? It just it's less of a it's just moving away from the mean, right? But they still buy, right?
Well,
So,
and it creates a lifetime behavior as well.
100%. 100%. So increasing lifetime value. So the reason why your ads aren't working, guys, and why you're not able to close the deal on your sales calls and even taking it to the beginning of the sales cycle where they're not clicking on your ads is because you're not speaking to a specific person, to a degree where you understand even their psychographics, right? Your real ideal buyer, right? And if it's towards the middle, that they'll buy. But even if it falls further away from the mean or the middle point, the medium point, you can still get those sales because you're still hitting on those pain points, right? And the reason why I bring it up, and not to alienate, I believe it was Elaine. I can't remember who it was, but not to alienate the copy, but it was very much like get 10K a month, right? That's very general. You know what I mean? That's not speaking to the pain point of a med spa owner, right? And for everybody, right, you should have it to a degree where you're talking to them. So Selma, just because you're in med spas, right, and I think you're the only one here. Oh no, so Chaz, you're in med spas too, but just because I called on you, Selma, if I were to say, please describe a typical med spa owner, what would you say? Or how would you describe
Lost.
That's a
Lost.
that's a feeling, right? But who are they specifically? What have they done? What are their interests? Like, how much money do they make? You like, that's a feeling, but who are they?
Right.
Can you
Right.
can you say it on this call?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still learning who they are. You know, the people that I have talked to, they're very different people. I've seen the solo med spa owner that's just renting, you know, a spa. They have no staff. It's just them. And I've seen a full blown spa that's turning into a med spa with a full staff.
So right there, the solo entrepreneur is the beginning step to understanding and identifying who you're selling to, right? Before I say mine, Chaz, do you know, since you're in med spas too, can you describe your ideal buyer?
Yes, unfortunately, is the person that wants everything handed to them, and you and Philip's class has done a lot in setting expectations. They think like the throw some money at it is a cure-all. That's not the cure-all. You still gotta have the drive on the back end to resell, to re-up, to build customers for life. And a lot of people don't understand that in business. They'd rather continue throwing money on a fire.
Yep, that's a psychographic, definitely. But since you have the psychographic somewhat like in line, what's the demographic?
Typically with the med spa that I've dealt with, it's them branching off and seeing success of other people.
That's still a psychographic, but the demographic, yeah.
In mine, I don't know the answer to that, honestly.
Yep. So you need to have both, right? You guys see the teaching moment that I'm trying to say here is if you can't accurately describe them, and this is, I know we're going on med spas, but here I'll ask for Rohan, since you're in solar, do you know like the psychographics and demographics of a typical solar rep?
Well, I mean, age-wise, they're going to be under 60.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. So I know some, like, so the age would probably be mostly like around 30 to probably 40-ish for most solar reps. What they make, they probably make around 60 to 70K a year on average.
Yep.
And what are they like?
So this is a great start, right? Demographic and psychographic. So I'm going to make up solar and I'm going to say med spas because that's obviously what I know, but I'm going to just make up solar, right? On the spot. Again, I'm not in the solar niche, but I'm going to say like, hey, from what I know about solar reps is they're independent contractors, right? They're entrepreneurial in nature, right? They want to validate their decisions to their family, right? Like I said, they're entrepreneurial in nature. So they need this to work, right? To achieve a level of status amongst their peers, right? Which is why they booked a call with me, right? They know that, they got into they partnered with the solar company in the first place because they were promised a great payout, and the rush of dopamine is there, but they want to validate their decision, right? They're very scared of doing so, right? They're very scared of even booking a call with me, right? But they're seeking help to validate their decision, right? I'm just making this shit up, right? You know what I mean? But for med spas, here's what I know for med spas, right? One, a lot of the people, at least who I work with, are solo entrepreneurs, right? They've been burned by agencies in the past. They may or may not have a staff, right? They may be doing the front desk work and the esthetician work themselves. So they're very overwhelmed, right? They've been promised the world by this machine, which they've spent thousands of dollars for, but they seemingly don't know how to get people in the door to pay for their services, right? Typically, they're females. Majority of them in the body contouring, typically they're African American, right? And they have great aspirations to validate, again, their choices, right? So stuff like that, right, is like, I'm painting the picture of who this is. And typically they have kids, right? The people that I work with. So I know I need to talk with them in a specific way and have my ad copy in a specific way, mostly to validate their choice is one, and to elevate them to a certain status where they feel like, hey, this is like a no-brainer, right? And it's not just the reason why copy like 10, get 20 booked appointments in X amount of days, or get 10K a month, whatever, right? That's a great thing. But most likely than not, like people think about it like this, right? If I said, hey, get 10K a month, right? That's cool, right? But say, hey, be a 6-figure agency owner. That's a different thing. Theoretically, right? If you're getting 10K a month, that's still a 6-figure agency owner. But I'm leading with, hey, what do you actually want to do, right? You want to be a 6-figure agency owner, right? And that's kind of the status they want to achieve. How do you get there? Oh, you get 10K a month. Okay, how do you do that? Building out a system, right? Okay, but the overarching thing is what they actually want, right? So, which is why, oh man, Ariana's just joining. She missed all this. Gonna catch the recording. Which is why, like, with me and my ads, and yesterday I had a 7K day yesterday, 14K week, in the last 7 days, right? And I've changed it up. I'm like, hey, you're not going to get booked appointments. I'm going to make you the #1 clinic in your area. That's a different thing, right? Would you guys agree? I'm not selling a promise anymore. I'm not selling a promise anymore or thing. I'm selling a status. And that's a powerful thing. And the reason why I say this is because you can do this for your own clients, right? You know, for the people in med spas, people don't want a needle in their face. They want the outcome, right? They want to turn back the hands of time, you know what I mean, so to speak. They want to be ready. They want to be ready, wedding fit, right? They want to have a mommy makeover package. They don't want body contouring sessions. They don't want Botox. They want to solve a problem, right? And with med spas, it's very much emotional, right? For solar, right? They don't want booked appointments, right? They want the actual sale, right? They want to think, hey, I'm bringing in quality leads, right? And overarching, they want to be the #1 sales rep in their company, you know? Again, guys, like, how I'm talking to you guys is literally how you will differentiate yourself in the market, right? Because at least in what I've seen, like the 20 booked appointments and all that stuff, it's great, right? It's great to get you out the door, but to really ascend to the higher plane, it's how do you not become a commodity? How do you create an offer so good people feel stupid saying no? And how do you emulate that with your own clients, right? And I've said this many times to my own clients, is like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I see these other med spa ads doing it cheaper, right? And I'm like, well, do you want to be a commodity, or do you want to actually grow a 6 or 7-figure clinic, right? I don't want you to be a commodity. I want you to, you know, go on my testimonial wall and be like Mary, who did 100K a month in 2 months, right? And here's the thing, we didn't offer that $70 off, or $70 for one session of body contouring. And if we just focused on that, there's no way we can get her there, right? So we do it in a way where we bring people in, we sell the dream, and then we sell them higher ticket. But it starts with, you know, not being a commodity, but even at its point, to understand who we're actually trying to target. So again, going like building a customer avatar, understanding the demographics. But what's missed a lot is the psychographics, right? And a red flag, or the foundation, should be, if you can describe your ideal buyer, right, to the point where you know their income, their gender, their nationality, ethnicity, household size, right? What's their revenue? What's their profit margins? You know what I mean? How much is their front end service? How much is their multiple session packages? How much is their memberships, right? What activities they like to do? What attitudes do they have on certain things? What do they actually believe in? What their core values are? Man, can you imagine creating an ad after you know all those things? And can you imagine doing a one call close after you know all those things? You know what I mean? It increases conversion rates tenfold, right? And you guys know this, right? we're in a game of numbers, right? We pay per impression, we pay per click, and all that stuff. Can you imagine if you took the time to understand your demographic to a degree where it increases your conversion rates like 2%? I mean, that for some big companies, that's a difference between that's a difference of, you know, getting an additional 40 grand, right? A 2% conversion increase, right? Depending on, you know, if you're what it is, right? But that could exponentially grow your business if you just start to understand selling psychology and the demographics and psychographics of who you're actually trying to target. Thoughts on that?
I mean, you're alleviating all the pain points before they even make it a point that it is a pain point.
Yep. You're leaving the pain points, but then also you can speak to them to a degree of familiarity, right? Because no one wants to be sold to, right? People want to. I think I told you guys this. I was a psychology major like way back in the day. Thank God I switched. But I remember in class they're like, yeah, you essentially need to match whatever their level is at and bring them up, right? So how do we do that with constant? If we're in the business of always booking appointments and talking with new people, we have to be a chameleon, right? And you know, some people are high, some people are low, but we have to speak with them on a level that we build familiarity with them, so they understand us and they feel like we actually get them, right? Think about the customer experience, right? If you spend high ticket with someone and you build a relationship with them, and you know they know that or at least if speaking for me, if I feel like they know my pain points, I trust them a lot more. And if things go wrong, I'll look the other way. You know what I mean? That's if you're stemming it back to your business, that's another way of retaining clients, you know? So the reason why I bring this up is because more often than not, people come to us, right, and say, hey, my ads aren't working. And I look at the copy, I'm like, well, you're definitely not speaking to them in a way that they want to, that they need to be spoken to, right? You're not addressing their pain points. And it's very easy to get lost in the realm of like, oh man, I need to do this targeting, or I need these systems, you know what I mean? You definitely do, right? But you don't want to forget the basics of marketing, which is the study of markets, right? Know who you're targeting, and that will 100% increase sales, increase conversion rates tenfold, right? Thoughts on that? So if no thoughts, Chaz, how can you better understand your target demographic, like starting today? Like what could you do?
Personally, what I could do is because I've had some failed solar experiences, not med spa, but go and actually talk to them about what they didn't like, what they did like. I mean, it's pain points to figure it out. That's all it is. It's basically creating the avatar that y'all taught. Overcoming their personal and professional fears. I think that comes with some wins underneath your belt.
Yep.
As a marketing agency, you need not necessarily referrals, but you need to be able to explain in a very detailed format what you have been able to do. And y'all do that very well. Y'all are also, you and Philip are very direct in your conversations while still understanding and getting on that level. And I know that's something I personally need work with, is being able to spend that conversation, understand all their pain points, but what could you do better? Me personally, I mean, I honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, go work with somebody in med spa for a day or two for free.
I mean, that's definitely a out of left field, but probably would work, right? Probably would work. I mean, if you do you have med spa clients yet or no, or solar clients?
Solar, yes, not med
Solar.
spa.
Okay,
I
so-
have several real estate and a few solar.
Okay. So have you gotten some wins for solar yet?
We're actually kicking ours off with Chad and Gabe
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay.
So they're white labeling with us. We've had a couple wins, but it's been on a real small scale, where honestly it didn't end up being worth it for us. We didn't know how to
Okay.
price point it because we were in the PPL model last year,
Okay.
and we moved away from that because we did not understand the PPL.
Yep.
We understood you were hemorrhaging money.
Yep. It's a PPL is a good hook in, right? But then you're like, when you get into it, it's like, man, we're burning money here, and you know what I mean. What I was gonna say to you, right? If you had some wins, it's as easy as, hey, let's get on a. I do this twofold, right? Hey, let's get on a call. I'd like to interview you to see what's working, right? And we have the recording, and then I recorded a testimonial. You know what I mean? And then at the end, I'm like, well, what can we do better, right? And that's a survey to understand who they are specifically, right? When I first started, I would call up med spas and say, hey, I'm a marketing student. What are your pain points? You know what I mean? And I was just self-aware of who would pick up the phone. A lot of them were solo entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? If you didn't want to do paid ads, right? And to your point, like having some wins under your belt, right? That comes naturally, especially when you're doing paid ads and you just are self-aware of who you're constantly talking to. You know what I mean? It also comes with being in the game, but if you didn't want to spend money on ads, you can definitely take the organic route. But the net is, and to put it into context, there's a 100%, there's a reason why, you have those surveys at the end, right? Of anything, most things that you buy that you get, like, oh, take this survey and you get a discount, right? Those are marketers trying to correlate and regression test, like where people are coming from, what their pain points are, so they can, create a statistical model for their sales team, right? That's what traditional marketing is all statistical analysis and studying of markets, right? And again, I digress of like, why, if they're doing it, why aren't we? And that's what it takes to earn the right of like a 6 and 7 figure agency. Awesome, guys. Well, that's I wanted to hone this in on, especially since we were talking about like copy not working and ads are not working. So I wanted to open it up to the floor too. Now, do you for us to go over some ads as well, right? So does anyone have ads that they have up and running that are not performing as well as they like? And we can take a look as a group and try to optimize that, right? But before we do, any last questions or concerns on what we went over for the first half of this call? You guys understand why it's important? Cool. Awesome. Alrighty, guys. So the second half of the call is your call, is hot seat. We can talk about what we just went over and more in depth, or if you have specific questions, we can go over that. But I want to make sure you get the value and make sure this is a call for you guys as well. You guys are good? We can end the call early, man. I want to give the value, right? I think I just dropped some heat, but I also want to make it your call too.
I missed it, bro. I didn't have my charger, but
Oh
I'll look at the
my
recording.
God, catch the recording.
Recording. Unfortunately, like I'm not currently running ads for the agency, so really I wish I had something to give you, but I took your challenge and I don't want us to have a problem, so I'm gonna start running ads sooner or later.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
So, dude, like, taking action is the best way to understand like whether something is working or not, right? Because you'll get a baseline. So my idea of, and you'll hear me say this, right? And Philip and I both heard the same spiel when we were in our beginnings of our journeys, right? it was said to us, and what hooked us in for like this other coaching program is like, just run paid ads and things will happen, right? It's not just running paid ads, it's being cognizant of what's going on. And when you catch the recording, right, it's like identifying the avatar. But what I'm about to say too is like, I do want you to run paid ads, but do it strategically in this right way, where here's our baselines, right? This is the typical cost per click. This is the typical cost per lead. Going into your landing pages, this is what we're converting at on this landing page, right? And when you catch the recording, you'll see, like I said, like even increasing conversion rates, like 2% for a lot of businesses, that's a difference between $40,000, you know, for some businesses, right? For you guys, it's exponential too, right? Depending on what you're charging. But an easy way to increase conversion rates is defining your customer avatar and speaking with them in a way that they want to be spoken to, which I'm not going to go into that because I did go a lot of that in this first call. So you'll have to catch the recording. But to circle back on starting paid ads is being cognizant of what your numbers are and then tracking that, right? So you get a baseline. So it's like, okay, I'm running ads. This is my cost per lead, right? This is my cost per booked appointment. This is my booking to lead or lead to booking ratio. This is what I'm converting at. What happens if I test out this headline? Oh, cost per lead went down. Okay. What happens if I develop a business asset where this is how I develop proposals? Oh, conversion rates went up. Okay, great. You know what I mean? It's a very much addressing the bottlenecks where they lie. And you guys know I'm a fan of that. You know what I mean? Like I always say that. And it is 100% applicable to everything in your business, right? What's the goal of the ad? Or to get them to click? What's the goal of the intro call? To get them to book, right? You know, it's a kind of similar scenario, right? But if we systematize it with actual KPIs, right? And you understand the mechanics of that, imagine when you guys grow and you hire a paid personnel and account managers and a sales manager. If they're not meeting their KPIs, you as a CEO know how to address that and manage them, right? And then now you're managing them to a degree where they have to fix it. And you're like, oh, I'm working 7 days a week or 4 hours a week. You know what I mean? The Tim Ferriss route. You know what I mean? But the reason why I say do a baseline is because I want you guys to set it up the right way and have the right mentality in doing so. And it's not just, hey, let's just do paid ads and burn money and figure it out. It's like, okay, what's the baseline? And it's adjust accordingly. You feel me?
It's kind of the equivalent of don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just compare yourself to you yesterday versus you today. Kind of like if you have that benchmark and you keep track of those numbers, it allows you to see, okay, where I'm at, where do I need to go?
Well, it's more so on the lines of making strategic decisions, right? So here's an example, right? We have an ad that's running for one of our clients, right? It's killing it in the Florida area, but not necessarily in the Midwest. You know what I mean? But I see, and they were like, I don't want to say upset, but they're like, oh my God, what's going on? You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, I could see here that we're getting a good cost per lead, right? Based on our metrics and our baselines. But I could see here, based on historically all of our clients, right, your lead to booking ratio is quite high, right? So that tells me that in your specific area, you can call it booking remorse, right? So something along the line is causing them to, essentially not trust you enough to confirm that they're coming in. And again, I said like, hey, the Omicron's, people are getting COVID, so we obviously can't control that. You know what I mean? But something along the line is breaking in the sales cycle where they're just getting spooked and they're not confirming their booked appointment. So you know what? Based on the data, I know it's not an offer issue. I know it's not a lead issue. Based on what the data, I can infer that they just inherently don't trust you at this stage. So what we'll do, let's create a video setting the expectation coming from you as the business owner to build that set of trust, right? And let's test that out because I know that it's not a lead issue, right? And they're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, right? I know it's not a lead issue. It's not the offer issue. It's people aren't confirming. I know. because we have a benchline data and we can effectively make strategic marketing decisions. And that's the name of the game, right? It's not just, oh my God, maybe let's try this. Let's actually grow your clinic to a degree of like an actual business and have the data tell us what to do. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Cool. I know I'm talking your guys' ears off, but is this making sense, guys? I want to make sure you guys understand, because this is big, right? This is how I grow like my business and other people's businesses, is to get them to think this way, you know?
I actually struggle with that, to be completely honest with you. I feel like that's something where I'm lacking a lot. We're just kind of like operating, boat is afloat. We're like literally like just, bilge pumping the water out, so to speak. Not really, it's not an emergency. Like we're floating, but we're not, man, like we're not keeping track of all that.
Can I tell you the secret? My secret?
Please do.
My secret is being very selfish and focusing on yourself first, right? Here's the thing. Here's my mentality. How much are you charging a month? You're retaining?
1997, 1800. Yeah, 1800 on average.
$1,800 a month, right?
Yeah.
So they're not paying you enough in my mind, right?
I agree.
So here is my philosophy, right? You're paying me to, what I give you for $1,800 a month is 1000% better than what you had, right? So I know for you, like, get the bare minimum out, your MVP, and get clients, get cash on hand, but then focus on yourself to develop these business assets that you can in turn roll back to your clients to give a better product, right? So I know it's the reason why you're feeling frustrated is because you're trying to build your business and you're trying to build their businesses, right? It's facts. So focus on yourself first and then your clients, and just know that what you build for them is 100% better than what they had. And they're not charging you enough. Or, they're not paying you enough. So here's the thing with me, like, I focus on our funnels 100%, our sales 100%. Here's where we're at. Like, it's not like I did that in tandem parallel. You know what I mean? There's no way, because for the people who don't have a team yet, you're only one person, right? And to use your creative side of your brain, your logical side of your brain, like constantly, you'll get burnt out. You know what I mean? By growing two businesses at once. So focus on yourself first, right? Develop those business assets first for you, so you can architect that to your future clients and tell them this is what you're going to do, and then do it, because you already have the experience doing it yourself. When I sold the call center, I know my hook is like, I sold a call center without actually even knowing how to do it. That was my hook. You know what I mean? What I tell you guys, but ultimately is like, okay, well, I understood it for me, and I was already doing it. It's like when people booked a call with me, I call them or touch base with them 5 minutes, right? Get that emotional tie in it. You know what I mean? I had an understanding of how to do it myself. And then I figured out how to do it for them after I kind of knew the ropes of how to do it with my own agency, and now, a year into Client Swipe, we can say we're a 6-figure business. And by definition, right, like I haven't been doing this like for that long. And we've been able to grow exponentially, right, in that time. And how did I do that? I was very selfish on growing myself so I could support my family, but in turn, that delivers a better product to everybody else because I have that experience. And also I have cash on hand, to Chaz's point, to buy Lululemon. Does that make sense?
The Lululemon part didn't, but I saw Chaz.
Yeah. Before you got on this call, he was commenting on my shirt. But yeah, man, this week I would focus on yourself, right? Focus on yourself, run the ads, get a baseline, and actually come up with business assets and systematize things that actually grow your business, right? What happens when a lead comes in? You know what I mean? Do you like, can you architect what, when a lead comes in for you, what happens? And I've seen your pipeline before. I think you can, you can dial that down, but can you, big picture, can you tell me what happens to a lead when they come in?
I spring into action, and that's, before we dig into that, that's kind of, I think that's another part of the business that I need to work on, is systemizing and delegating more, because I'm taking the whole responsibility onto myself. So to answer your question, leads comes in, I hop on the phone, call them for that discovery call, book them for the demo. Luckily, or unluckily, I guess we're doing something right. We're scheduling the majority of them for a demo. And then we just go through the demo, and the outcome is in some cases
Okay.
positive, and
Are
in-
you, so you're beginning to like architect the structure, and it should be like a flow chart, right? If else statements, if this happens, do this, if not, do this. So you understand kind of the big picture, but to write that out and systematize it for yourself is one thing. But then also, are you taking kind of that framework of what you know for your own business and consulting your own clients and doing the same? If not, there's a discrepancy there.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
You feel me?
yeah, totally.
Because our we're in local lead gen, like, you know what I mean? And even if you're solar, you still need qualified leads. You know what I mean? There's a sales process there. Why are we not doing that for our own clients? You know what I mean? But furthermore, how do we learn that? We do that for ourselves first, and then we teach them, right? I didn't just make all this stuff up that I'm teaching you guys. I did it for myself first, right? To be, if you take anything from this call, right, is to, one, define your customer avatar, two, be very selfish and build your own business first, so you can give a better product to your current clients and future clients. And that's how you grow. And again, here's another nugget. If you continue to think that I need to build my business and my client's business at the same time, man, you're overloaded. You won't ever like skyrocket. You know what I mean? Just acknowledge like what you give them right now, your current clients, is 100% or 1000% better than what they already have, and be very selfish and build out a badass system for yourself so you can build a badass system for your clients. Right?
Yeah, dude. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's the nail right on the right on the head. Because when I decided to go solo in this agency, I have a partner also, and it's like, let's just get clients and we'll figure it out on the go. And I had a pushback. It's like, dude, I already know that we need to have systems in place, especially if you want to scale.
Yeah.
So at this point, like, we haven't really solidified the systems, and yeah, we're getting clients, but I'm not feeling very confident just scaling, like just, set up the fire at the rocket and really just hit, go for the moon, because I don't think we have systems in place to take on that load. And that's always been in the back of my head. And that's kind of part of the resolution for New Year's. Like, I need to have a system in place in order to scale, so I can actually work on revenue generating tasks, instead of like kind of like putting out small fires, making sure that everything is running smoothly instead of focusing strictly on sales and bringing in, so
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yep. And to hit it home, guys, like you'll hear other coaches say like, you don't need systems, right? And this program is very much sales oriented, right? Which is true, right? You do need to focus on sales, like more so than systems, but systems is non-negotiable, right? It's non-negotiable. And if you think about like the end game, right? The end, like where you want your agency to be or your business to be, right? In like 3 years, 5 years, do you want to sell it? You know what I mean? Do you want to give it to your family? You know what I mean? If you wanted to sell it, there's no way you can talk with a potential investor if you didn't have what's called business assets, right? What is our company culture like? What is our process on taking in new clients? What is our process on deciphering or mitigating company fires, right? What is our process on upsells, right? That needs to be in place. And what I'm trying to say, like going on this tangent, is systems doesn't have to be crazy. What I want you guys to think about is just having an MVP, just like if you were to create like an app, you know what I mean? Facebook didn't start off with like what it is today. It was like a shitty app, you know what I mean? Just for colleges, you know, when they first started off. You just needed to work better than what it's currently doing. And a good foundation that you need systems is if you feel overwhelmed, then you definitely need something, right? You definitely need something. If you don't have a team, use Zapier to automate your stuff. If you have VAs, here's how you do paid ads. Here's how to do onboarding, right? Here's how you follow it. And to design it to a degree where there's little to no thinking involved will 100% be night and day for you guys, right? But man, I just noticed that we've been touching on a lot of shit on this call, dropping some heat. Yeah, to turn it back to you guys, how do you feel about that? And is there any questions or concerns or anything that you guys want to bring up towards the later half of this call? Oh, I see Selma. When we run ads for med spas, how does the targeting work? Do we run to a lookalike of their current list? Are you talking about for your own clients? Is that what you're talking about, Selma?
Yeah, for a med spa or a brand new med spa.
Mm-hmm. I've tested out both with great results. Typically, I just do it to a cold audience. But like I was saying with testing everything, let me show you something. Give me 1 second. So to answer your initial question, I just do cold, right? And as long as you have a great offer, it should suffice, you know. But not to say my other testing with lookalike audience for a local med spa didn't work. It actually gave really good results. So at the end of the day, you got to test. You know what I mean? But for you, right, in your testing is to really be cognizant of what your targeting is and finding the average CPLs and all that stuff. So it kind of goes full circle into like understanding who your target demographic is in the first half of the call. You want to define that so you can have a hypothesis of what their interests are. And funny enough, Lululemon is kind of a good one for med spas. Jazz.
Okay.
So what I've done here, right, and what I encourage you guys to do is to not just do interests based on what you think works and grouping interests like willy-nilly, right? Because we do it like off of brands, lifestyle, what have you, you know what I mean? And we're tracking the typical cost per lead, right? And saying, okay, out of all of these tests and all these interests, right? This is the average cost per lead for this clinic. Let's use it for the next clinic to achieve similar results. I know I answered your question and then some. Any questions on that, Selma? I believe your first initial question.
That's very helpful.
Okay. Awesome. So yes. Let me just to give you a head start. Here's my targeting. Give me 1 second. Because I want you to do well or do right by your med spa client, because I know there's a lot riding on it, right? It's a 3-month contract, is it not? Selma?
I was muted. It's a 3-month contract.
Awesome. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see my screen? I'm getting $3 leads for body contouring. This person is crushing it. You know what I mean? Like and we're doing beauty, brands, and fitness. So what I'm saying to you is based off that sheet, I was like, okay, let's see what interests are actually moving the deal forward, right? And this ad set for beauty, we're doing plastic surgery, makeover, Brazilian butt, cryotherapy, day spa, lash me. You know what I mean? You can take a screenshot of this, Selma, but what I'm saying to you is you can possibly do a better job than I am. And there's probably more so that are crushing it that that we just haven't tested. You know what I mean? But to group your interests based on ad set, you know what I mean? And it's relevant to kind of what you're targeting, right? Another key
Got it.
tip is exclusions,
Right.
right? Because how did I know that they don't want Groupon people? I identified the customer avatar, right? I know them to a degree of I know their demographic and psychographic because I took the time to build out my customer avatar. So let me exclude people who are interested in Groupon to get better results. You know what I mean? So it comes full circle, guys, this call. You know what I mean? So I would rewatch this call. But does that help out?
And so,
Selma?
and so
Kinda-
you're running, yes, it's very helpful. And so you're running 3 ads in an ad set, a video still in another video?
Yeah, we're doing video still in video, and we tested it out.
Okay,
This one is.
I got you.
Yep, this one is. That one was restricted, by the way, but we actually went into the med spa and filmed this content. So this is like what we shot as well, right? So again, just another thing to increase our prices.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. I know we covered a lot in this call. Have 8 minutes left. Any last questions that I can answer for you on this call to give the value today? No? Awesome, guys. Well, rewatch this call because I'm sure I feel it was a good one, right? We dropped some heat on this one. So rewatch this call. If there's something else, please message us on Facebook, right? On the group. But other than that, you guys have a great week and let's crush it. And we'll see you next week. See you guys.
Thank you, Jordan. See ya.